Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating, using the sources you've shared. It's all about international rugby tours.
Yeah, that whole balancing act, isn't it? Between, the club demands and what the national teams need.
Exactly. And it's often more complicated than just who plays better on the day. We're going to look at the French tour in New Zealand right now and compare it to, well, a pretty significant England tour from about 10 years back.
Right, 2014. There are some striking similarities.
There really are. It's all about player welfare, tricky decisions for coaches, and these big shifts in European club rugby.
Definitely.
So before we jump right in, if you're obsessed with this stuff like us, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession wherever you get your deep dives. You really don't want to miss what's coming up.
Good point.
Okay, let's start with France. Les Bleus, they're down in New Zealand now, and that first test, they showed real grit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Courageous, determined, skillful even, but they still lost to the All Blacks.
Yeah, despite the effort. And now Coach Galthie has got this immediate problem, hasn't he?
He really has. It's like you said, echoes of that England tour. They're flying in reinforcements, 5 guys, Deporter, Barassi, names we know. But the question is, are these players really going to add, definite value, as the sources put it? Especially when the team that played first actually did pretty well.
That's the core of it, isn't it? And it ties right back to what Galthie himself said before the tour about player welfare. He set these red lines.
Yeah, the 2,000 minutes or 25 games limit per season.
Exactly. He was quite strong on it, calling it a public health issue, said players just can't play 50 matches a season.
It sounds sensible, right? But then you look at the actual numbers from the sources.
Oh.
Yeah. 21 players from the Six Nations squad against Scotland, and 17 from that team in Dunedin. They've already crossed at least one of those red lines.
Wow, already.
And guys like Luku, Ramos, Pinot, they've crossed both. Some are likely heading for over 30 games by the time this tour ends.
So you bring in replacements, but are they actually rested?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're swapping tired players for potentially more tired players, what are you actually achieving for welfare? Or for performance, frankly?
It feels like a cycle. Even the standouts, like Villiers, the sources called him a number 7 in a wing's body.
Yeah, great description. Always in the thick of it.
He was immense, tracking the ball, counter-wrecking. But even with guys like him, the overall defense was stretched. Really stretched.
It's a breaking point, yeah. Against the All Blacks, that's always the danger.
Okay, so this brings us to that comparison. England, 2014. It sounds so similar.
Eerily similar.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about history repeating itself. That England tour was just hammered by the club season schedule.
Right. The Premiership final was May 31st.
And the first test in New Zealand, June 7th. 1 week.
Just 1 week. So England basically had to send out, a B or C team, didn't they?
Pretty much. And they were up against, the sources call it one of the greatest sides in All Black history. And you look at the names.
Woodcock, Franks, Retallick, Whitelock, McCaw, Nonu, Conrad Smith, Ben Smith. It's insane.
Absolutely stacked. A Hall of Fame team, basically.
And yet, England nearly pulled it off in those first 2 tests.
They fought incredibly hard. Lost the first one, 2015, right at the death.
Yeah.
Conrad Smith, 2 minutes to go.
Agonizing.
And the second test, even closer, 28-27. A single point.
Unbelievable. But then the third test.
Yeah, Hamilton. By then they were just gone, exhausted, depleted, lost 36-13. Blown away, really.
And all anyone remembers is the 3-0 scoreline, right? That black and white result.
Exactly. The context, how close they came, how knackered they were.
Yeah.
It just gets forgotten. It's brutal.
So thinking about that, what does this pattern tell us about the bigger picture? It's not just bad luck, is it? The sources talk about a seismic shift in European clubs.
Yeah, and the timing is key.
Right.
Just 3 months after that 2014 England tour, the English and French clubs basically threatened to break away from the Heineken Cup.
Right. They wanted their own competition. The peak of private club power, really.
Definitely. They were flexing their muscles. It was all about control the calendar, player access, money, often pushing against what the national teams needed.
They ended up staying, but only after big changes were made.
Huge changes. The Champions Cup got smaller, 20 teams instead of 24. A new body, EPCR, took over marketing and governance. And fewer teams from Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Italy got in.
Power shifted, didn't it, towards England and France?
Massively. And look what's happened since. 10 of the last 11 Champions Cups, won by English or French clubs. Only Leinster have really challenged them consistently.
So the clubs are thriving, massively successful.
But does that success come at a cost to the international game? Especially for those national teams, that's the crucial question. Can the national sides really hit their peak under that kind of relentless pressure from the domestic leagues?
It's a fundamental tension, isn't it? And just pausing here for a sec, if you're finding this discussion helpful, remember to hit subscribe on Rugby Obsession. We really enjoy digging into these sorts of issues.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
Now, the consequences of this club versus country thing, they're pretty clear when you look back. France, the year before England's 2014 tour, they went to New Zealand too.
That's right. Similar story again. Narrow loss, first up, 23-13. Looked promising.
But then?
Blown away 30-0 and 24-9. Didn't score a try in the last 2 tests, 160 minutes.
Ouch. Same pattern. Initial fight, then depletion.
It absolutely is. And the sources connect this directly to the World Cup the following year, 2015.
Ah, yes. How did that go for them?
Not well. Both England and France crashed out early, didn't they? Ignominiously, as the sources say. France got hammered by the All Blacks in the quarters, 62-13.
Wow. So the All Blacks basically did them in, just like they did England.
Pretty much. Did for the red cockerel as they did for the red rose. It shows the long-term damage these punishing schedules and fragmented preparations can do.
So looking at France now, in 2025, it feels like they're facing that same potential blackwash, the 3-0 defeat. The parallels with 2014 are just, well, they're stark.
Too close to ignore, definitely. It's a real warning sign.
We've certainly covered a lot. France's current struggles, England's past, the huge changes in club rugby. This whole deep dive really gets you thinking, doesn't it? About rugby's future.
It does. How do you balance the club game's success and demands with what the national teams need? And most importantly, the players' well-being in the middle of it all.
There are no easy answers. It's so complex.
Which leads us to a question for you, the listener. Thinking about all this, the history, the welfare issues, what stands out to you? What's the biggest challenge here? Or maybe, do you see a potential solution?
Yeah, what's the way forward? We'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this.
You really would.
Thank you for listening to this Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. We look forward to you listening to our next episode.